Hello and welcome to this FPL Game Week 11 team selection video with me, Holly Shand. I'm off the back of two very good game weeks and excited to keep this momentum going. I will be answering all comments on this video, so if you've got any dilemmas, leave them down below and like and subscribe. Let's get this one to 500 likes. Let's get into it. Starting off with how my game week 10 went then, I finished on 90 points with a game week rank of inside the top 300k. This was after getting 95 points last week. So I've made quite a lot of progress in the overall ranks from 1.2 million 2 weeks ago to now 175k. Now, in my team selection last week, I was thinking of transferring out Maddison for Saka and also getting in Tsimikas into my side. However, I found it really difficult to sell Maddison, and I decided over the next few game weeks I wanted to prioritise getting Watkins in over Saka, because obviously Saka has Arsenal away this weekend. So instead, I had managed to have the exact funds to go from Alvarez to Watkins, which didn't pay off this week, but you know, Watkins was incredibly unlucky not to deliver in that game. And I brought Tsimikas into my defence for Udogie, who missed the game through injury. So I feel like those moves were quite good for this week, but also for the following few weeks as well. Now, Areola, I started over Flecken. That proved to be the wrong decision, but I did only miss out on 3 points. Matty Cash got very lucky in the defence, getting a clean sheet. He was subbed early, got yellow carded. The worry was that he was playing more of a deeper position, with Diaby being wider in the midfield, and that helped as a Diaby owner because obviously he got that 13-point haul. Wasn't so good for Cash though, so that's something to keep an eye on in the next few games, because Cash has been one of the most attacking defenders in the Premier League so far this season. Double-digit hauls also in my midfield for Son and Bomo, who was another player that I was trying to sell to get Saka in, but I didn't have the funds to do so. And you know, you look at these players, the Sons, the Mbomos, they're on penalties, and Bomo's involved in some other set pieces. They look like great long-term holds right now, and the same can be said for Maddison, who chipped in with yet another assist. He's got a perfect record on the road this season. I went with Captain Salah. I can't be disappointed with the goal. But Haaland, it's the first time I haven't captained him this season, and he pops up with a 16-point haul away at Manchester United. It was the away game that put me off, but I should have looked at that Man United defence and thought, you know, given their current form, Man City would have been all over them. And Haaland loves playing Man United. He's a boyhood Man City fan, so he's definitely riled up for that derby game. But all in all, 90 points. Really pleased with how this team is doing, particularly the progress in the last couple of weeks since playing the wild card. And the thing that I've got to think about now is that I've got very far with this team with making really careful transfers. I have made some poor selection decisions, certainly the goalkeepers this week, captaincy the last couple of weeks. I should have gone Haaland in game week 10 and Salah in game week 9. Some big swings in points. So there's still some ground to be made up with this team, but I am going to try and stay patient where I can with a lot of these players now. Looking ahead to the midweek fixtures then, and 10 Premier League sides are involved in the Carabao Cup on Wednesday evening. I'm recording this video on Tuesday morning. No European fixtures, of course, because of this, but some things to note in here. A rare midweek off for Brighton and Aston Villa, who have been pretty far stretch playing in European midweek fixtures. And crucially, Man City coming up to Bournemouth at home in game week 11. They were knocked out of the Carabao Cup. They've now got a free midweek. How important is that going to be? That's something to note. But because we've got so many sides involved, unless you've got exact funds to make transfers now, I would encourage you to save those transfers until Friday evening or maybe even Saturday morning. Looking at my team then, and as I've mentioned, I had exact funds in the bank to make my moves last week. That leaves me with one free transfer, absolutely nothing in the bank. So to be fair, I am pretty inflexible this week, but looking at how my team lines up, I don't think that's the biggest problem. In terms of the goalkeeper decision, Flecken, he missed a game when I bought him on wildcard, but he started the last two, got consecutive clean sheets as well. So I feel like he has to come in as my keepers face off. Brentford at home are certainly a team that are difficult to break down. So he's going to get the nod for West Ham at home with Areola back on the bench. And then the defence, well, I've got Botman and Burke both flagged with injury on the bench. So it's a back line of Burn, Cash and Tsimikas. Now, the only concern here is that I don't like Burn's fixture that much, Arsenal at home, but he does have some attacking threat. And I think Newcastle at home are a very good side defensively. So I feel like I need to just start him and hope for the best. I have toyed with potentially making a single transfer to take out Botman or Burke and improve that fourth defender position, because it is a weak link in my squad. It does mean I do have a weak bench. But, you know, looking at defenders priced up to about 4.5 million, there's not a great deal to choose from. I've got that optimal three of Cashburn and Tsimikas. I don't really know where else to go in terms of who I want long term. It tends to be, you know, the likes of your Man City defenders and Arsenal defenders, and possibly even more Liverpool defenders that are going to be popular in the next few weeks, but they're expensive and I can't get there. Could bring in someone like Charlie Taylor, which would allow me to bench Burn, but I think with Saka still on my radar to get into midfield in a few weeks' time, having 2 free transfers next week is going to be more valuable than doing a tinker in my defence. I haven't taken a points hit so far this season, and I feel like making a transfer this week, a defensive one that isn't absolutely necessary, could lead to more problems down the line. Really excited with how my midfield shapes up though for game week 11, having all delivered an attacking return last week, and Bomo's back at home having got double digits in his last couple of games. Diaby playing in that attacking slot in this Aston Villa side against Forest away looks like a decent fixture for him as well. Son and Maddison against Chelsea at home, who we thought could be having an upturn in form but still look to be in absolute disarray. I think I'm going to find it really difficult to let go of either of them to get Saka in my team in a few weeks. And, you know, Maddison, a player since I've owned since the start of the season, he is a really great long-term hold. And obviously, Salah completes the midfield. I've owned him since the start of the season, the highest scoring player in the game, in form as well. Let's see what he can produce against Luton away. And then the front line, it's Watkins. Disappointing to see him blank last game week, but he was unlucky. He's still in that purple patch. And then Haaland against Bournemouth at home, having had that free with Meek, and Archer on my bench is kind of the only viable player to come in if someone misses out. The big question now is on captaincy. I think it's obvious for me this week who to go for. Haaland, the best goal scorer in the league. Home game, he's so much more prolific at the Etihad. He's had the midweek off, and Bournemouth are missing their first choice goalkeeper, Neto. I think it's a really easy decision to captain Haaland. Salah will get the vice captaincy. I have toyed with the potential for the triple captain on Haaland, having had that emphatic performance in the derby and be fully rested for this game week. I did think about it earlier on in the season against Fulham at home, and we know what happened there with his 20-pointer. I do think it's viable. For me, I just feel like psychologically it would be a blow if he didn't really produce a massive haul in this fixture. And after kind of captaining him for a few blanks in the last few weeks, I think I'm probably not going to go with it, but I can see why many people will opt to go down that route. We do know that City obviously blanking game week 18 because of the Club World Cup, so they're definitely going to have one double game week at least later in the season, but the fixtures are never going to be as kind of spread out as maybe they are this week for them. Drop your dilemmas in the comments, and I'm aiming to answer all comments on this video, and like and subscribe. We'll get this one to 500 likes. Thank you so much for watching.